Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, who's better than your mom at taking care of you when you're sick?
Also, a surefire way your pet can get you out of work. And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
The box office breakdown. Looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters this weekend. A little bounce back at the box office after last week was the lowest box office of the year. This week, more than double the total box office take. Coming in at number one, Bob Marley, One Love, making about $33 million.
Well, that is a bounce back.
Yeah. Congratulations to Bob Marley, One Love. If you saw it, let us know at 8772 Radio U. Isaiah, I'm going to go out on the limb and say you didn't go see Bob Marley, One Love.
I didn't make my way to the theaters this weekend.
Yeah, I did not see that. Nor did I see the number two movie in theaters this week. That was Madam Web, which made $17 million based off of the response, which last week we learned, of course, very bad. The reviews horrible for Madam Web. You think 17 million is actually good or bad?
That feels pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Any more, I would begin to question everybody's intentions going to that movie. And any less, and it would seem like they shouldn't have put it out at all.
Yeah. Still, Sony cannot be excited to put that to have made $17 million in the first weekend with Madam Web. But hey, you know what? You roll in because it was an early release. It came out on Wednesday for Valentine's Day, obviously, and it's up to $25 million. So they're only flushing several $100 million down the toilet probably with it. Argyle was number 3, then Migration, and then The Beekeeper. Amazing that The Beekeeper, after 6 weeks, still in the top 5. Isaiah, what have you watched lately?
My roommate and I, for whatever reason, over the past couple of days, have been on a big Modern Family kick.
Oh, yeah?
So we just recently got to log into Peacock, and it's on there. And so we started watching a bunch of that. I also watched Despicable Me 1 and 2.
You did?
Yeah.
Were you like babysitting or?
No, it was just on TV. So It was one of the great things yesterday when the Daytona 500 got canceled.
Yeah.
It really messed up my Sunday afternoon.
I guess so. That
because
throws things
I
off.
had blocked off like 5 hours to watch that.
Yeah.
And so then I had to fill it with something. So I filled it with Despicable Me 1 and then Despicable Me 2. And then I started watching Modern Family.
1 wasn't enough. 2 wouldn't even do. You should watch number 3.
We were going to watch number 3, but everybody at the house last night was clamoring for Modern Family.
Despicable out.
Mm-hmm.
There could not be more difference between what you and I have been watching lately because I have been trying to catch up on, and I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to be able to see every Oscar movie that's nominated for any major award and for minor awards as well. So I watched the movie Naiad recently. That is, it's on Netflix. It's about a swimmer. She's a lady. She tried to swim. She was a marathon swimmer. She tried to swim from Cuba to Florida in, I guess it was probably the 80s. Didn't make it. And then in recent years, we're talking like 10 years ago, so now she's 60 in the movie. And it happened in real life, of course. And she was trying to swim from Cuba to Florida again. And so I'm not going to spoil if she makes it or not, but it was okay.
It was just okay?
Yeah, that's not a big recommendation, but
it has an 86% Rotten Tomatoes score.
It's well acted. I think Annette Bening, she plays Naiad, who's the one that's the swimmer. And so she is up for Best Actress or Best Supporting Actor. I guess it would be Best Actress. Yeah, she does a good job, but the movie is just like,
just okay.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what's not just okay. Another sports movie, actually. The Iron Claw, which is a wrestling movie about the Von Erich family. That's the one with Zac Efron, or he's Kevin Von Erich. And that did not get nominated for any Oscars, which is a sham. It's a great movie. The best movie, one of the better movies I've seen, not just in the past year, in several years.
Wow.
Very good. Very good.
That's pretty resounding review there.
Yeah. So the Iron Claw, that gets a recommendation from me. 8772 Radio U. Let me know what you saw this weekend or what you think Isaiah and I need to take a look at sometime soon here. That's your box office breakdown.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
This weekend was All-Star Weekend for the NBA. Yesterday, an exciting All-Star game, which the East All-Stars did wind up winning 211 to 186. Before that, on Saturday night was the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Mac McClung won for the second time in a row, but people were not impressed. Many are calling the dunk contest dead. Isaiah, did you watch any of the dunk contests? Did you see any of the highlights? What are your thoughts?
I saw the highlights. I saw the dunks. I did not watch it live.
How did the highlights feel to you?
Some of them felt cool. I thought Mac McClung's dunks were very creative, very good. Some of the other ones were just okay. Jaylen Brown didn't really impress me at all.
Yeah.
His dunks were not great. I thought Jacob Toppin had some pretty good dunks, but Mac McClung, the clear winner.
I watched it live, and I agree. Jaylen Brown, that was one of the big criticisms. People were not clear why he wound up advancing to the final. I think it is clear because he was the biggest name, and the biggest name I feel that's been in the dunk contest for several years. So they just wanted to keep him around in a contest that's entirely subjective anyways. But I'll tell you, watching it live, it was borderline embarrassing. And it's not that the dunks any of them were that bad. I mean, you got guys jumping over other people, which is by and large what it was, just jumping. I mean, literally somebody in the first round, I don't remember who it was, jumped over Shaq. And then in the final, Mac McClung jumps over Shaq. So that not a whole heck of a lot of creativity. But then again, there's only so many ways you can dunk a basketball. I don't know that we need to see something completely new that we've never seen before every time. It was just the whole vibe of it. People didn't seem to care. The judges were kind of sleepy and just giving everything like 48s, which is, I guess, typical. But it just didn't feel exciting. And it was confusing, too, because I've also seen people saying this, that the dunk contest and the three-point contest, which comes before, should be swapped so the three-point contest closes out the evening. Why is the three-point contest more exciting than the dunk contest?
It's because the people that are in it.
Is that you think it's just the big names that makes it?
Yes. I mean, Mac McClung, the dunks that he's doing are incredible. Like the dunks he are doing, everyone's complaining about the dunks. The Mac McClung dunks the past 2 years have been absolutely incredible. As good as any dunk that we've seen in the last 20 years. People talk about Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine and how great that dunk contest was. Mac McClung's dunks are like that good. They're just as good.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty incredible. I mean, the one that he did where he jumps over one of the random people and completely takes his hands off the ball and then reverse. I mean, an absolutely unreal dunk, but nobody cares because it's Mac McClung.
Yeah.
If LeBron did that same thing, what would everyone be talking about today?
It would be a pretty big deal.
Be a pretty huge deal. What happened in the three-point contest? Who won it? Damian Lillard.
Big star.
And then if you think about the people that compete in it. Donovan Mitchell, Karl Anthony Towns, Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
I mean, I could list almost every single person. Lauri Markkanen. I could list every single person. I can't tell you outside of Jaylen Brown. I know that there was 4 people. I can't even tell you who all 4 were.
Yeah, I forget. Actually,
or what teams they play for.
But and off the top of my head, I did not remember. I'll tell you, I don't know. I think, because here's the other thing too, right? The dunk contest, these guys are doing impressive things. Everybody completed their dunks, I believe. There wasn't even one, where a guy ran out of time because he couldn't get it done.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that sucks. But these dunks are stuff this is more impressive than what you see in any game.
Yeah.
And yet the three-point contest is more exciting. You see a three-pointer made, 30 times a game probably. And these dunks are all more impressive than that. And for some reason, it still feels unexciting. I have some thoughts, though, of ways that we can amp it up. And I'm not just talking about an LED court, which they did have, which was cool.
Was cool.
Here's a couple ideas. One, have multiple people trying to dunk at the same time.
Interesting.
Speed it up and make some competition out of it. It's a competition. Make it a competition.
Okay.
And two, along that same line, what's one of the other best things about basketball? One of the other best highlights? Blocks. Put somebody there, trying to block him.
Oh, goodness.
Try to do your little fancy tricks with Victor Wembanyama standing in the way. You jump over Shaq. Victor Wembanyama's there. You got to get over both of them. Try that.
That sounds like something different.
Yeah, because we need something. It was not good. It was not good on Saturday night.
And I think another thing that makes the three-point contest so great is the scoring system.
Yeah.
The scoring system for the dunk
That's
contest,
right.
I'll tell you what they need to do. Instead of doing the whole 48, 49, 50 thing,
Yeah.
Just rate the dunks 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Everybody can't have a 50. Let them watch all the dunks.
That's right. The 50s
and then
don't mean anything.
Rate them 1 through 4, or have it be a knockout bracket to where you're 1v1, Mac McClung, Jacob Toppin in the first round. You both get a dunk, move on. I can't do all the 50s. Everybody gives a 10. I can't do all the 50s.
Yeah. Something needs to change, that's for sure. Let us know what you would do. 8772 Radio U to fix the dunk contest.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Over the weekend, texted a friend that I hadn't talked to in over a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I didn't talk to the person in over a year. I haven't seen them face to face in several years. And you know what happened? They responded.
Why'd you text them?
Because I was like, man, I haven't talked to this guy in a long time.
So just to check in.
Yeah, because what happens, I don't know if you've experienced this, but what happens is, like, when people move away and stuff, your friends, or your college buddies or whatever, you're friends with them at the time, and then eventually you guys move away or whatever, and then, at least for me, it's like, oh yeah, we text pretty frequently for a little while, and then eventually you just don't text for a long time. And the longer it gets in between, even if you want to talk to them again, you're like, yeah, but it's going to be awkward. It almost, in a way, and by the way, when he responded, he said this, it's like when you don't text somebody, when you don't talk to somebody for so long, then it feels overwhelming to start talking to them because it feels like you have so much to catch up on. But I'm glad that I actually decided to text this guy instead of just not, because you know what didn't happen? He didn't ignore me, and he also didn't get upset. He wasn't like, I can't believe you haven't texted me in so long. He didn't blow up at me. Granted, we never had a falling out or anything like that, so the risk of that was low. But it felt good. It felt good to get back in touch with somebody that I hadn't talked to in a long time. And I think it's a helpful reminder. I think I need to do that more often, to check in with people more often. And those people that you think about that you haven't talked to in a long time, it's not a bad idea to still reach out and say something. What's the worst that can happen?
Them not reply?
Yeah. And then what?
Which is not a big deal whatsoever.
Yeah. What did you lose? Now, again, granted, with this guy and I, it's not like we ever have had any issues. So there was no risk of him like coming back at me upset or something like that. But I understand sometimes that's a risk you run if it's somebody that maybe it's a parent or somebody you were real close to and things went wrong, but you still feel like, well, I should get back in touch with them at some point. But it just, can we fix what, don't worry about the big picture of all that stuff. Just take the first step. I think it's important to take the first step to reach out to somebody, because yet again, the worst likely that happens is they just ignore you. And then it's then the ball is in their court. But sometimes you go through times where the longer it goes, the more awkward, the more overwhelming, the more unlikely it might feel that you have a good outcome from it. But it really can rarely hurt. And that includes a relationship with God too. It might feel like it's been too long, or maybe you've never talked to God. And so you just feel like there's too much history, there's too much past in your life for now to be the time to reach out to Jesus. But the truth is, God's ready to pick up right there with you. And sometimes, and this has happened to me too, you reach out to a friend after a long time, it's like you never stop talking to them. Me and my one friend, we don't talk very often, but when we meet up in person, it's like we never missed a beat. Jesus will do that with you. It's never too late to check in with God and let him have a little part of your life. Let him start to show you what he can do for you, how he can help you, and the comfort and peace he can give you in life that is invaluable. You want to know more? Reach out to God right now. Say, hey, God, I'm ready for that. I'm ready to start things. I'm ready to restart things. Let's see where it goes. You can also go to radiou.com/free gift.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
It's Nikki's birthday. We're going to wake her up early, have her on the show, wish her happy birthday. Now, right now it's an interesting time to be in the workforce because of the uncertain economy. I've seen some recent surveys that say people just not very confident after so many people kind of resigned and felt a lot of worker empowerment over the last few years. Now it feels like maybe that's coming to an end, and maybe you feel like you need to work a little harder to find that job that's for you, to get your name in the running for the job that you actually care about. And so I have here Springboard for Business's annual State of the Workforce report, where they have found that the key to getting to get the job you want could be not hard skills, but soft skills. First of all, you know the difference.
People love tossing around soft skills.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. They're always like, oh, you need to work on your soft skills versus your hard skills. I don't know what that means. Is that skills I'm not as good at?
Here we go. Here we go. See,
My
this is
mediocre
good.
skills?
It's good that we're talking about this. Hard skills are like tangible skills. Like I have computer skills. Maybe I know how to work Excel, or I'm really good with ChatGPT or stuff like that. You know, actual tangible skills that you actually can get tested on and, actually can prove that you know what you're doing with different things. But then you have the soft skills, which are more things like the top soft skill they say that's in demand, strategic thinking. It's more intangible stuff, more stuff in your mind, stuff that, by the way, you can imagine or claim that you have, but that it's very hard to prove, and thus, why not claim that you have all of the soft skills?
So things that just don't matter, that you can just make up.
Well, strategic thinking matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if I'm going to an interview, you're going to leave that interview and be like, well, that guy, he is one strategic thinker.
Well,
he's got it down. I mean, what else can I say?
It would be a pretty strategic move and would prove your strategic thinking to put strategic thinking and your soft skills on your resume.
Yeah, that's going to move a lot of needles for me.
Look how strategic this guy is.
Oh, he has on his resume. He's a strategic thinker.
Yeah.
He also has creative right below it. Well, we got to hire this dude.
That's right. So these are the kind of skills you have to work on. I think part of it too, like some of it's strategic thinking, but some of the soft skills that come to mind are the type of things that make you an easier person to work with, somebody who's good in the workplace, even if you aren't the most technically savvy or, whatever. You might not be the best of the best at, you might not have the best numbers in certain categories, but people get along with you. You're good at maybe conflict resolution, that kind of stuff. And maybe, as people become more and more withdrawn, recluse, since the pandemic hit and everybody just got used to being around home and being around people less, those skills become more and more valuable. You just fit in. The people aren't either annoyed with you behind your back or to your face. I think that could be meaningful as well, why these are so in demand right now.
I wouldn't say in demand, but I would say if people have these at my job, it's going to make it a lot easier. I feel as if they talk about soft skills a lot, interviewees, companies. Do those mean a thing to them? I think absolutely not. They have down here some of the ones that you could list on your resume that are going to move the needle. Listening skills. Put down you're a good listener. That's not getting you a job. Problem solving. That's not getting you a job. Leadership and empathy, among others. I mean, these are just words that you can toss on your resume.
Yeah.
These are some of the most important things at work. But to be able to get you a job, I don't know. These are moving the needle for me.
I think the tough thing is these are things that are easy to claim, so there's no reason to not put them on your resume. But the flip side of that is difficult to prove.
It was so difficult.
How do you prove you're a good listener?
I don't know how. Like in the interview, you're going to have to be doing some incredible listening to be able to prove this. But I think at the same time, if you have these skills, I would love to have you working with me.
Yeah. And
Can you prove them?
In the interview, you're going to have to figure out a way to prove you have incredible listening skills.
It's gonna have to. You're gonna show something wild.
Yeah, I was just repeating you.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, because I wasn't listening, but I was because I repeated you. Yeah, it's hard to prove, but something to work on because it could really help you out. And again, these are things that that the employers want.
It's what they want.
It's what they want.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Happy President's Day!
Yay! Thank you both for being so kind to, have me have a chance to speak on this President's Day.
Yeah. Do you have it? Would you like to comment on the president at the moment?
Actually, I will tell you, I hated growing up because President's Day, rotates around days.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I hated when my birthday and President's Day fell on each other because I couldn't go to school that day to celebrate my birthday, and I used to really not like it.
So wait, today is actually Nikki's birthday.
It is.
We're acting like we don't know that, but it is Nikki's birthday. So now, do you get the day off because it's your birthday?
Yeah, you do. So congratulations, everybody who has a job that honors President's Day and Nikki's birthday. So you're welcome.
Nikki, when was the last time, because you always try to play down your birthday every time it rolls around, when was the last time you felt really, really special on your birthday? When was that day?
It's been a while. You know how it is when you pass your milestone birthdays, like if you're past 18 and like 21 and then 25 if you want to rent a car. But by the time you're past all that, there's no more milestones. So you just, but this is making me feel special. So I appreciate that.
Good.
So
I'm glad we could do it.
I remember last year you had a real issue revolving around your cake for your birthday. What are you doing? What are you doing cake wise this year?
So last year, I ordered a special keto cake. Even though I wasn't keto, I was doing low carb.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like $90, I think. It was so expensive. And it tasted awful because it used this alternative sugar thing. So it had a really weird aftertaste. So this year, I'm going full sugar.
Yes.
And I am picking up this morning, I got those Biscoff cookies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I got a Biscoff cookie cake. So it's a big vanilla cake, and then it's got those cookies surrounding the sides of it.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's not $90.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right that that's not the most expensive cake you could possibly get.
Because it sounds like the best cake.
It does, yeah.
Correct. So this one, I think it tops out, I think it's like $30. So much better, much more affordable. I'm having a little birthday party today, and I didn't want to do the keto cake again because that was not right.
But you have to pick up your own birthday cake, though?
Well, I mean, Eric will probably pick it up if I ask.
Okay.
If not, I don't. Listen, it's just a day, all right? I don't mind going to get my own birthday cake. I'm fine.
Well, I hope you're welcome to share it with us as you have this morning. But we also plan on maybe we'll get a cake later on for your birthday.
You're welcome. And we can both get cakes and still be under last year's price. If
That's
it's
right.
Yes.
That's right.
2 Biscoff cookies.
You guys get whatever you want, and it's on me. It's on my birthday.
I was thinking, normally when you were here, we'd also get free breakfast on your birthday. Can we cash in on that?
Yeah, we'd like the
still?
breakfast.
You can cash in. You can do whatever you want in the name of Nikki's birthday today. You all are allowed to do that.
Perfect.
I'm going to put you on the spot here too, Nikki, because if you were in town, we would go out to a traditional Radio U birthday lunch, a place of your choice. Mm-hmm. Where would you be picking?
Oh, that's a good question. I miss the hamburger place that we used to go to a lot with the onion rings. And they have this homemade ketchup that I really like. So I probably would pick that today. I wouldn't
Nene
have picked
hated
food
that
court.
place, though.
He did.
Nene just, if Lecrae was there, he'd
If Lecrae was handing him the ketchup.
He hated the homemade ketchup. It was too fancy for him.
Right. And I don't understand. That's Nene's issue to work through, but I liked it. So I probably would have picked something like that.
I think the last time he went there, he brought his own ketchup bottle.
He did. And that was embarrassing for us all.
That's a bad attitude right there.
So-
That's
Yeah.
not a team player.
So now we know we're gonna get breakfast of our choice,
Yep.
and then we're gonna
Yep.
go get hamburgers for lunch, also on Nikki, and then we're gonna have cake afterwards. This sounds like
Yep.
the best birthday yet for me. I mean, for you.
I'm excited, and that's only because it's also President's Day. So
True.
don't forget to get a mattress sometime today.
That's right. That makes for the best birthday of all time.
Everything's on sale.
Happy birthday, Nikki.
Thank you. Enjoy the cake.
You too.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Now, some controversy was brewing in the world of professional darts last week. And you know it's got to be some good controversy if we're talking darts on The Riot. It all comes down to Darren the Demolition Man Webster. He's a 55-year-old professional darts player.
What a name, by the way.
Yeah, they have some great nicknames. The better the nickname, the less interesting the sport is, I believe, is how it works. So Darren the Demolition Man Webster, still going strong at 55 in the pro darts circuit. He had a commanding lead over Ron the Bomb Meulenkamp, a 35-year-old pro darts player from the Netherlands. But over time, after a commanding lead, a 3-0 lead in a best of 7 for Darren the Demolition Man Webster, he eventually succumbed to Ron the Bomb Meulenkamp, who wound up coming back for the victory.
He came back from a 3-0 deficit.
3-0. He won 4 straight
Wow.
to get the win. Now, after the fact, Darren the Demolition Man Webster refused the customary handshake with Ron the Bomb Meulenkamp.
Refused it.
Refused it.
Refused the
Yeah.
handshake at the end. Unbelievable.
I'm sure you had a really good sound effect that you were trying to play there.
Was.
He refused the handshake and then took to social media to explain his distaste. He says, when you play a guy, and this is a quote from Darren the Demolition Man Webster, when you play a guy who farts and stinks the stage out and denies it, then kick you when you're playing the stall every time they throw, every time you throw, because they are no good. Good luck for the future, but not interested.
What a wild thing to
You hear that?
claim.
He claims that Ron the Bomb Meulenkamp, that he got that they didn't give him that nickname for nothing, is what it sounds like to me. He's saying Darren is blaming his darts loss after being up 3-0 to lose 4-3. He's blaming it on farts.
Can that be? He called him just a big kid. That's what he called him. Darren, I feel as if, you know what I'll say? I don't think this is a fair claim.
You don't think, I mean, why do you say that?
I think Darren, a little bit upset he blew a 3-0 lead.
Uh-huh.
There's no chance. And this has happened before, shockingly. Back in 2018 was the original Fartgate of professional darts.
Why has this happened multiple times?
And so in my mind, I'm thinking Darren's just going back to an old trick. here.
Yeah.
Going back to an old well.
In darts, this is the only sport where this can happen. And it doesn't reflect well on you to blame your loss on somebody else stinking things up. Can you imagine after the Super Bowl if Brock Purdy was like, you can't blame me. George Karlaftis was just out here stinking things up. How am I supposed to play under
How
these
am I
conditions?
supposed to be able to focus?
Yeah. This is, you want darts to be taken seriously? This isn't the way.
This is not the way, Darren.
This is
You
not
cannot
how
blame
you do
people for
it.
this.
It doesn't make you seem better. It just makes you seem like you can't. I mean, I am able to function with all kinds of smells in here. And somehow I power through. So I think you, Darren, the Demolition Man Webster, need to have a little more mental fortitude. This is why you're never going to be known as one of the great darters of all time, because you can't deal with the stink.
Blew a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
You had it in the bag.
This is losers talk right here.
There's never been a can of worms they didn't open. The Riot, Radio U.
Let's talk about a great topic on a Monday. The death of your pet. Should you get time off when your pet passes away? According to Erica Sinner, CEO of Directory, she calls herself not a chief executive officer, but a chief empathy officer. And at her company, Directory, they do something that's fairly unique, fairly uncommon, but she thinks it should become more widespread. She, at Directory, offers pet bereavement leave for her employees. Isaiah, you think this is something that should expand out, that more and more companies need to adopt the policy of paid pet bereavement leave?
I feel like I'm not against it.
Uh-huh.
If your dog dies, your longtime dog dies, I feel like that bereavement time is just as warranted as almost anybody's.
I mean, you think about it, you live with your dog.
It's part of your family.
Other people that you could be justified in taking bereavement time off for, and they could be people you haven't seen or spoken to in years.
Your dog's like for me, Jim's like my kid.
Yeah.
He's like my child. When he passes away, it's like watching your own child pass. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah. I feel like this is what I always think about with stuff like this too. Think about coming in, think about you're an employer, and you've got an employee coming in, their dog just died. You think that employee is going to be getting some real good work done? You think they're real, especially if it's anything like public facing? I mean, maybe they'll get some sympathy because they're going to probably bring it up to several people, several customers, probably. but you're like, if you're working at a bank, you're probably, if you got customers coming in,
you're going to be bringing that up.
I feel like you mention it.
I don't think you mention it.
I think you do. I think you do. Easy sympathy. And how?
Oh, sorry, I'm going so slow. My dog died this morning.
Yeah, I think you could definitely use that.
Sorry, your burger came out late. My dog passed away.
Yeah, yet again. Yeah, if you're working at Burger King, I don't know if they're probably the most forward thinking when it comes to paid time off. But you think you're an employee that's pets just died. You think they're going to be getting some real good burgers flipped for you? You think they're going to be putting their best foot forward at work that day? Probably not. You should probably just give them the day off anyways.
I think about it the other way around as well. Like if your pet died and you're going to sit across from me all day, I don't want you in here.
That's right.
The mere fact that like, it's just, I know you're going to be in a bad mood.
Yeah.
I know you're going to be upset. And obviously I'm going to say like, I'm sorry about your pet passing. But then I feel like I'm walking on eggshells the rest of the day. It makes me feel uncomfortable being here.
If we were desk mates and your pet had passed away, obviously at first it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, whatever. But then, yeah, you have to spend the whole rest of the day together. Can you make jokes?
No.
Then it's like, then I start to tell something about my dog, but I'm like, wait, no, I shouldn't do that.
Shouldn't bring up a pet in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's numerous reasons why pet bereavement time.
You only get one day, though.
Yeah, I think one day's enough.
One day. The day after.
But then again, here's what I'm thinking, though. Some people, if you offer specifically pet bereavement time, then the people without pets are going to feel discriminated against. So what I think is you should offer more, or you should allow pets to qualify for bereavement time. That's all. Because realistically, too, how often do you need to use your bereavement time?
Almost never.
I have worked here for several years. We get multiple days of bereavement time every year. I've never used any of it. And I've had grandparents die. I haven't been able to go. I should use that time.
You should.
Yeah. But yeah, so yet again, pet bereavement time, specifically for pets, maybe not, but just allow employees to use their bereavement time on pets. I don't see the downside.
I'm going to start fostering pups, older pups.
Just so you can get extra days off.
You don't always have to agree with Isaiah to always disagree with Hudson. The Riot. Radio U.
Isaiah, today I am starting my journey to fitness.
That's exciting.
I'm starting a diet. I'm going to be doing today calorie deficit. Going to go back to trying to put out more than I take in.
Shed some pounds.
Yeah, shed a few. I'm happy to report that I did this last year and lost a meaningful amount of weight. And that ended probably around the beginning of October. I quit. I stopped. I started eating whatever I wanted, not worrying as much about it. And now getting back, I haven't gained all of the weight back, so that's good.
That is good.
That's a good start. So I already feel like I'm starting with a win. So today starts the calorie deficit. Now, you've been doing your diet for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going for you?
I've now gotten to the point where I'm not freaking out starving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hungry.
That's so you made progress.
I have. I feel better.
Yeah.
Like a week and a half ago, the first week I was freaking out starving.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm just hungry, which is a better place for me.
Yeah, that's manageable. Hungry is, you're used to it. Starving, no good.
My question for you is, how much weight are you looking to lose? Do you have a goal in mind?
That's a good question. I think the ambitious goal would be 15 pounds. Last year in total, when you count it all together from my heaviest weight, which is what I started at, I think I lost about 25 pounds.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
To where I am now. So I lost even more than that when I was, so that was, and some people would say, if I don't feel like I'm tooting my own horn here, some people would say, I didn't know you had 25 pounds to lose. And I thank them for saying that, but there's still a ways to go for me. But here's the thing, Isaiah, I don't just want to leave this. I made a lot of progress last year doing calorie deficit, and I started a new habit of walking pretty much every day. Because that's a very good habit to have. It's at least some way of staying active and burning some calories. So this year, I want to start another new habit. I want to start I'm not going to go to the gym. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to pay for a gym membership. But what's another low effort, low entry point of getting in better shape? I'm going to start doing push-ups.
Push-ups.
What should my push-up goal be starting today? How many do I need to do in a day?
I think you do. I mean, how often are you doing in one setting?
I think I need a number.
Day?
I think I need a number.
You need a number of push-ups.
I don't need a time. I need every day I need to do this many push-ups.
Well,
and
you
then I
should
can break
start.
them up however I need to.
If you're doing it across the whole day, you should start at 100.
100.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
If you do,
how many push-ups do you think I could do right now? Just if I just hop down on the floor.
You could easily do 10 push-ups.
10. Yeah, I know I could do 10.
Exactly. So if you did 10 push-ups
10
once
times.
or twice an hour,
yeah,
then you're there. You're immediately there.
Yeah. Once or twice an hour.
Once or twice an hour.
Yeah. And
Maybe
I'd
every
still
time
have
you
some
get a
hours to
task
spare.
done, you could do 100 push-ups before you even left work. If you did like 2 or 3 an hour.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times an hour.
Should I be allowed to do that?
Push-ups at work?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for the show.
Yeah, that's
You should be
right.
getting paid for them.
Yeah. I mean, and if it's 10 at a time, that's such a negible amount. of
Exactly.
time. What does that take? Like 15 seconds?
You're not going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
You can get 10 at a time.
It's me getting up and moving around. It's helping my brain too, helping my creativity.
Are you worried? Because I worry about this.
Yeah.
Last year, I did a diet, was very successful. This year, I'm trying to do the same diet and get similar results.
Yeah.
Do you have any worries that it might not work?
That's tough, right? Because on one side, it's like, yeah, it's already worked once, but then it's like, did it do all it could do?
Am I going to do it the same way? Is this time around going to be different?
Yeah.
Is my body different now? That's something that I've started to question because months leading up to this, I'm like, well, I know for a fact, once I start my diet, it's going to work. But people start diets and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and particularly for me too, because I didn't gain I'm not starting back from where I started last year where I had more to lose. So there is a possibility, but I think that's why adding something new, adding a new wrinkle, hopefully.
We love a wrinkle.
Yes. I got to wrinkle it a little bit and hopefully that will be what I need to get in better shape this year. And then who knows, maybe next year we add sit-ups.
Oh, some core.
Or maybe I do some of both now.
A little bit extra.
Yeah, I need something.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
Hope you're enjoying your President's Day. Isaiah, do you ever find yourself struggling to concentrate on a single task or thought?
Yes.
Then I hereby diagnose you with popcorn brain. That's how doctors do it, right? I hereby diagnose you. That's something that many people actually experience. It sounds like to me, the majority of the population in this day and age may have what some clinical psychologists refer to as popcorn brain, a phenomenon that basically pertains to the tendency for our attention and focus to jump quickly from one thing to another, like popping corn kernels. Our brains are broken, and they're blaming it on social media. That it is now becoming even harder for us to just sit and focus on one single task, one single thing, and get it done because we're so used to switching back and forth or scrolling through videos or whatever that we just can't focus. Our attention spans are too short.
I can imagine this is a thing because of TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and stories and reels and shorts and all that jazz. But for me, I feel like you just have to find your way of focusing. Everybody has different ways that can help them. For me, I like to listen while doing things.
Yeah.
So I like to listen to music in the background, or I like to listen to podcasts in the background while I'm doing things.
Oh, you
that
mean
helps
like
me
the
focus.
Worst of the RIOT podcast?
Precisely. That helps me focus. So for some people, that would be annoying, or they wouldn't be able to focus. That's the way that I'm able to get things done. If I'm sitting in silence, there's about a 0% chance I'm getting anything done.
Wow.
I have to be listening to something.
I get that, because sitting in silence it frees up your brain to think about too much. Where if you're focusing on, if you have music or a podcast in the background, then that's the background noise that keeps your mind from wandering from the task at hand. I get that. That makes a lot of sense. Some people out there might be saying, well, I'm not sure if I have popcorn brain. I feel like I'm pretty good. Well, I'll tell you, this is such a good stat. According to the University of California at Irvine, in 2004, the average time that the average American would spend before switching their attention to something else, like when it comes to screens, 2.5 minutes. That feels pretty short, right?
It can.
That was in 2004. Now, 47 seconds.
Before switching to the next thing.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, how can you get anything accomplished in 47 seconds? And that's how long you take before you're moving on to the next thing. Everything is moving so quick. How can you sit and focus and get anything done in that amount of time? You just can't.
Do you think that it's just people telling themselves that, though? Because I have friends who have never been on social media, they are big social media people.
Yeah.
And do I really think that their attention span is better than mine? I don't think it is. I don't know. But, and the other thing to go to that point is that, you go back in time to when TV first became a thing, right? And people were putting TVs in their home. I believe it was the same kind of conversation of this is going to rot people's brains because they can't, they're going to be too busy focused on this and whatever. It was a very similar, I feel, that people were warning of the dangers of TV. It's going to ruin our attention spans, ruin our brains. And, where are we now? Somehow society kept on rolling for the last 60 years or whatever. So maybe this is just the natural way things go, that it sounds, people ring the alarm bells, watch out, you're going to rot your brain and, ruin your attention span. And then somehow we just keep on figuring it out. But if you ask me, though, I would say no matter what you do, you're probably hurting yourself if it comes to technology, rather than how it used to be. If you ask everybody, they would say, if you're taking in too much technology, too many screen times, it's got to have some negative effect. I don't know what it is, but it's got to have some negative effect.
It has to.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
because we've got an age-old debate here you might want to weigh in on. This has been going around online, and I feel like I've heard this a few times before. I've got a woman here, 24 years old, met a guy on one of the apps. Things seem to be going pretty well. He was 28, he claimed. They had a lot of similar interests. Messages were going well. They decided to meet up for a date. And when she meets him in person, she sees that he is older than his picture showed, and then asked about it. She just went ahead and asked and said, how old are you? And he said, actually, 42.
Not 28.
Not 28. It's a pretty big gap.
Pretty big jump.
And listen to this. He didn't just say, I'm actually 42. He said, I'm actually 42, but age is just a number.
We love that one.
Yeah.
He had that ready.
Yeah. He's, I feel like she's not the first person he's told that to. And so after that interaction, she says she got the ick. She told him she forgot her phone in the car, and she left and did not return. Now, here's the controversy. She, first of all, he messaged her asking where she went. She said she went home because I'm not into older guys or being lied to. But after telling some of her friends, they thought that she shouldn't have done that. Also, the guy said she was being too shallow, and that's why he doesn't say his real age. Where do we land on this one, Isaiah?
Her friends are saying that she should have stayed.
Yeah, her friends are saying that she should not, she should not have left. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say no, you don't need to stay. You don't have to walk out in that way either.
Uh-huh.
But the first thing that you're doing in this relationship is lying to me.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that off the rip.
Yeah, forget about the age thing. Forget about
just the lie.
Yeah. Because if he was honest at first, maybe it would have been fine. Because clearly they got along outside of that. But since he was lying, you can't start off on that foot. You can't do it. And that's different than kind of pumping up your best characteristics. You're literally lying.
Yeah, that's different than being on the first date and being maybe a little bit more outgoing than you usually are, or trying to seem whatever way. If you're lying about your age off rip, I would say no.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You shouldn't feel wrong for leaving that one. You're 24 years old. He said he was 28. Turns out he's 42.
Uh-huh.
I would say no. And if age is just a number, then for him, I would also ask the question of, and you're not into girls that are even similarly aged to you?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I don't like the idea, because I can picture this, right? I can picture this scenario. I can picture him justifying it, going, well, I'm into girls that are my type is girls that are around their mid-20s. But if I say that I'm 42, then the girls that are around their mid-20s I'm not even gonna come up in their search. And then but to me, I could say this, I could go, well, I'm really into supermodels. And supermodels aren't really, if I put my actual picture on there,
they're not going to be interested in that.
They're not going to be interested in that. So I'll just put a different one. And then once they get to know me online,
they're going to love me then.
Yeah, that's not how, you can't just lie.
No.
You can't lie. You can pump up your best characteristics. Please go ahead. You can't actually lie. Yeah,
be into whatever you want, but you can't be mad at the other person for not being into you.
Yeah.
So
when you're not who you said you were.
Yeah, when he said she's shallow for leaving because of his age. This is exactly why I don't put it on there.
Yeah.
But no, that's not how it works. Yet again, you can't be upset with her because that's just not what she's into.
Yeah.
She's not into dating guys that are a lot older. There's probably a girl out there that's 40 years old that isn't into dating guys that are a lot younger.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it works. And so you can't be mad at people for their preferences, and you can't be mad if you're the one lying.
To go back to what her friend said, the friend said that she was being mean for leaving the date and not even telling him. Maybe he was a nice guy and she was being too judgmental because of his age. But listen, he lied. And why does this gal who just thought she was going on a nice date, she gets met with a liar, and then she's supposed to have a confrontation there in front of everybody? No, just leave.
You don't owe him anything. You don't owe him anything.
That's right.
If you're going to lie, if he didn't lie, then okay. Then leave the date in a formal matter.
Yeah.
But if you lie off the rip, then no.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Who do you think it does a better job of taking care of you? Your mom or your girlfriend?
This sounds like a loaded question. I'm not answering.
You got to answer.
Not answering.
It says it was a survey question that 2,000 people answered. Who?
They're out of their mind for answering this question.
Well,
this is a loaded question.
I guess that was anonymous.
Yeah, anonymously. I'm not answering this anonymously.
I don't think it's too loaded to say that, like,
Go for it.
I don't think it's too
Go
loaded
ahead.
to say that like there's nothing quite like when you're growing up and your mom's taking care of you.
Wait till Angela hears this part of the podcast.
That's right. Hey, she's very loving and caring and
Is
helpful.
she?
But I think the difference is not that that she's less caring and loving and a better caretaker than my mom. The difference is when your partner is taking care of you versus when your mom was taking care of you when you were sick. I'm an adult now. And so there's still like certain boundaries of like, I should, even if I'm sick, I should be able to do stuff for myself. Whereas when I was a child, your mom is just like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything. I don't think it's fair in this survey. I don't think it's a fair comparison, even though the survey found that men 43% to 35% say they're like 43% say mom was better, 35% say partner better at taking care of you.
Well, I would say as an adult, I have kind of gotten a little bit of a reputation for being apparently over dramatic sickness.
Oh yeah.
If I'm feeling a little sick, apparently yet again, reputation for being a bit over dramatic.
Yeah.
Acting more sick than I actually am, which when you're a child, your mom never goes at you for that.
That's true too.
Where E immediately is like questioning, how sick is he really? Because once I'm sick, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I am curled up in my bed. I've got the sheets pretty much over my head. The sheets pretty much over my head. Can't move.
Yeah.
Can't do anything for myself.
How often would you say that happens in let's say a year?
Once
a year?
Maybe once a year.
You're helpless.
I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's one time a year, so I feel like it's warranted that for that 4-day stretch, maybe you can help me out a little bit.
A 3-day, 4-day stretch.
Yeah. And my mom would never question that. She'd be like, oh, he's really sick.
Yeah.
As soon as I get sick, Eden's like, how sick are you?
Yeah,
really?
but again, what you're doing is not, that's not unique to you. There's a whole term for that. They call it the man flu.
The man flu?
Yeah, have you ever heard of the man flu?
Regina just texted that's called a man cold.
Yeah. It's the idea that you or I, as men, if we're equally as sick as a woman, we're going to make a bigger deal out of it and complain more.
Well, I like being taken care of.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say that. If I'm sick, I am helpless. I'll tell you right now.
Mhm.
If I'm sick, I'm helpless.
I don't think I fall into this category.
I do.
Yeah, you're a big baby.
yeah, that's what she says. So I would say in that area, then my mom is better.
Yeah.
Because my mom's not going to be like, you can do it.
Yeah.
She'd be like, no, I'll just do it for you.
Or it doesn't feel like like if you're like, let's say like you're married or whatever, you're living together, then it feels like it's you trying to use an excuse to get out of doing the dishes, to like get out of responsibilities, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like, at least to the other person, and probably justifiably so. Does being sick stop me from doing the dishes? It shouldn't. Just because I got a stuffy nose or sore throat, those dishes still need to be done. I better get on it.
I'm not doing any of them. I'm not doing any of them.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.